Ria always struggled with English. At school, she would memorize grammar rules and definitions. But the moment she tried to speak, she felt her words stumble and her confidence crumble. She often wondered why learning English seemed so complicated, why vocabulary words didn't stick, and why reading books or watching movies in English felt overwhelming. One evening, frustrated after failing another test, she decided to change her approach. "I need to learn English differently," she whispered to herself, determined to find a way that worked. The first thing Raya realized was that vocabulary was the backbone of language. Without strong vocabulary, even perfect grammar wouldn't help her express her ideas clearly. She started small, creating a notebook just for new words. Every day, she wrote down 10 new words, their meanings, and example sentences. But she didn't stop there. She read her sentences aloud, repeated them throughout the day, and tried using the words in conversations with her friends. Slowly, she discovered that repetition and real-life usage were key to remembering vocabulary. It wasn't enough to just memorize definitions. The words had to live in her mind, ready to come out naturally. Ria also understood that context mattered. She began reading English stories, articles, and even short news pieces. Whenever she encountered a new word, she didn't rush to write it down. Instead, she tried to understand its meaning from the surrounding sentences. She realized that understanding how words worked in sentences helped her remember them better than simply looking them up in a dictionary. To reinforce her learning, she would write a short paragraph every day using the new words she had learned, making sure each word found a place in a natural, meaningful sentence. This exercise strengthened not only her vocabulary, but also her writing and thinking skills in English. Watching movies and listening to English podcasts became Ria's favorite learning method. She chose movies she already knew in her native language and watched them in English with subtitles. Hearing the words spoken naturally helped her understand pronunciation, intonation, and usage. Podcasts on topics she enjoyed, like science and history, taught her advanced vocabulary in an engaging way. She realized that passive learning, listening and reading regularly, was as important as active learning, like writing and speaking. Over time, phrases and expressions she heard repeatedly began to stick in her memory, giving her the confidence to try them in conversations. One challenge Ria faced was fear of making mistakes. She often hesitated to speak, worrying about pronunciation or grammar errors. Then she remembered something her teacher once said: "Mistakes are proof that you are learning." She started practicing speaking daily, even if it was just talking to herself in front of a mirror. She recorded her voice, listened carefully, and corrected herself. Sometimes she practiced with friends who were also learning English. Gradually, speaking became less intimidating, and she realized that communication was more important than perfection. She could now use new words without fear, and her vocabulary started feeling natural in conversations. To keep herself motivated, Raya set small, achievable goals. Every week, she aimed to learn a set number of words and use them in sentences. She celebrated her progress, no matter how small, knowing that learning a language was a marathon, not a sprint. She also joined online English forums and social media groups where people shared new words and language tips. Engaging with a community of learners kept her motivated and exposed her to a variety of expressions and styles of English. One day, Ria's hard work paid off. During a group discussion at school, she used several new words naturally, and her classmates noticed. Words like resilient, intricate, and meticulous flowed easily from her mouth. The teacher praised her, and Raya felt an immense sense of achievement. She realized that building a strong vocabulary wasn't just about memorization. It was about understanding, practicing, and immersing herself in the language every day. By the end of the year, Ria's English had transformed completely. She could read books with ease, watch movies without subtitles, and express her ideas fluently. Her vocabulary had grown so much that she could explain concepts clearly and creatively, impressing both teachers and friends. The journey taught her that learning English wasn't a task to finish quickly, but a skill to nurture patiently. Consistency, curiosity, and courage to make mistakes were the real tools behind strong vocabulary and fluent English. Ria's story became an inspiration for many classmates. She often shared her tips. Write and use new words daily. Read widely. Listen actively. Speak fearlessly. And never give up. Most importantly, she emphasized that language is alive. It grows when practiced, spoken, and enjoyed. Through determination and smart strategies, anyone could strengthen their vocabulary and master English just as she had.